Joshua chapter 20. The Lord also spake unto Joshua, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, Appoint out of you cities of refuge, whereof I spake unto you by the hand of Moses, that the slayer that killeth any person unawares and unwittingly may flee thither, and they shall be your refuge from the avenger of blood. And when he that doth flee unto one of these cities shall stand at the entering of the gate of the city, and shall declare his cause in the ears of the elders of that city, they shall take him into the city unto them, and give him a place that he may dwell among them. And if the avenger of blood pursue after him, then shall they not deliver the slayer up into his hand, because he smote his neighbor unwittingly, and hated him not beforetime. And he shall dwell in that city until he stand before the congregation for judgment, and until the death of the high priest that shall be in those days. Then shall the slayer return, and come unto his own city, and unto his own house, unto the city from whence he fled. And they appointed Kadesh in Galilee, in Mount Naphtali, and Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and Kirjath-Bara, which is Hebron, in the mountain of Judah. And on the other side of Jordan, by Jericho eastward, they assigned Bezer in the wilderness, upon the plain, out of the tribe of Reuben, and Ramoth in Gilead, out of the tribe of Gad, and Golan in Bashan, out of the tribe of Manasseh. These were the cities appointed for all the children of Israel, and for the stranger that sojourneth among them, that whosoever killeth any person at unawares might flee thither, and not die by the hand of the avenger of blood, until he stood before the congregation. We see in this chapter the fulfillment of the requirement established by Moses that there be cities of refuge for those people who accidentally killed somebody. And we see a little bit more detail than we had before. And I think I was wrong in a previous chapter where I mentioned the avenger of blood and thought that was somebody who was assigned that job, like an executioner. But as it turns out, the avenger of blood was a family member, usually the oldest male, oldest brother, whatever, of whoever had been killed, and their job was to kill the person who had killed their relative. And what was to happen was, if you killed somebody unawares, you needed to understand, of course we need to understand, there is no such thing as a trial system, there's no such thing as a court system, there is no such thing as a penitentiary system or a justice system in Israel. Those things just do not exist. And so the only way for anybody to be tried, safe, considered innocent until proven guilty, was for them to flee to one of these 6 cities. There were 3 on the east side of the Jordan River. There were 3 on the west side of the Jordan River. And you would go to the gate. Now, again, remind you, the gate was where all the officers of the city were. They were where most of the business of the city would be transacted. And so you would go there, and it would be a place where, although they didn't have those things, the mayor would be, whoever the chief officials of the city were all there. They had places in the wall right at the gate, and if you walked in through the gate, you could transact whatever business you needed to, mainly there. And you would have to declare why you were there. You had killed somebody, to state what the problem was, and these people were obligated to take you in, give you a place to stay, and protect you. And if a relative of the person who had died showed up, they were not, under any circumstances, to surrender you. Now, interesting thing was, whoever the high priest was, now in this case, at this particular time, it was Eleazar, whenever the high priest died, you could then leave the city and go back to your home where you had been before you killed this person accidentally, and everything was fine. That was, otherwise you stayed in that city. If you were found outside of that city, the relative of the person you had killed could kill you. You had to stay inside the city. And that was the mechanism whereby they had for seeing to it that if you were innocent of killing somebody in the sense that it wasn't predetermined, it wasn't something where you hated them beforehand, all the rest of it, that you could live. and be allowed to live. They had to deal with murderers in some way, shape, or form, and this was the way that they chose to do it. And you at least had a head start. You would know if somebody had died where you had to go. Everybody would know where the closest place was to where they were living. Not the best system we would think, but given the circumstances at the time, probably the best that could have been arranged.